Hey guys, today I want to talk about emergency food supplies for expats and how much should you have? Should you have an emergency food supply? Should you have, maybe a generator or a solar generator that you should have around where you can charge up a battery pack or whatever around? Today we're going to talk about that and how much you should have around for food. And I would say here in the Philippines, you should have at least a 3-month supply of food, possibly rice, canned goods, things like that. I'm not saying frozen foods, because frozen foods, they could go bad because electricity could go down. We could have a typhoon. We could go to war. We could have flooding, what have you, depending on where you are. Who knows what could happen. But anyway, I want to talk about this today, and I want you guys to throw in your 2 cents worth. Do we need 3 months? Do we need more? Some people say we need as much as a year, and I kind of question it. I think 3 months is more than enough. 6 months is kind of pushing it, and it might be a good amount to have in case things really get bad and things really hit the fan around here. Do I think we're heading in that direction? The world's in a funny pickle right now, and maybe it is worth going for that 6 months. If you think you need that much, of an emergency food supply, it might be the way to go. Don't forget, we are having food shortages in the world today, all over the place. And some of it's caused by Ukraine, some of it's caused by shipping issues, things like that. So yes, I would say at least 3 months supply. Remember, and cycle through it. As you put it in and as it gets close to that date, use it up and put a new one in there. So if you have let's say, vacuum packed rice. Vacuum packed rice should last you about a year to a year and a half, they say. So after about a year to a year and a half, take that out, use it, put in a new one. Keep on doing that. If it's not vacuum packed, it's supposedly good for about 6 months to 9 months, to some people say a year. I wouldn't leave it in there for more than 6 months, because you're going to start getting bugs and insects, things like that. So be careful with rice, and make sure you have a good container, or you store it correctly so that it'll last longer, if you know ways of storing, or if you have ways to vacuum pack things. Also, you could have MREs. You can buy MREs online on Lazada. You can buy dehydrated foods and things like that and store those away. Canned foods, soda, water. You want to have all that stuff. You want to make sure you have all this extra stuff, especially water. You want to have that put aside. Again, cycle through it. Make sure you have enough of that around. Make sure you also have, if you're going to have a generator, a gas generator, make sure you put stable in the gas. Stable is a thing that makes your gas last longer. It's spelled STABIL, okay? I believe that's how you spell it. And you put that in your gas, and your gas will last like a year or two or something like that, so your gas won't go bad, because gas goes bad after a while. So you want to make sure that you have that. So just keep that in mind, guys, that you need to have that in your gas. I do not recommend having a gas generator. Here's why. Because when the power goes down, guess what? The power at the gas stations also goes down. So once the gas runs out, that's it. So I would say get a good bunch of solar panels that fold, and they have them. They have folding solar panels, just enough to power up a Jackery or something like that, so you can power up your generator. Not your generator, your refrigerator. You power up your computer or whatever. You may want to think about in the future having possibly Starlink for your computer, so you can run that maybe for an hour or two a day off your battery packs or what have you. I mean, it's going to cost about $500, I think it is, $100 a month or whatever for that. It may be worth it to start thinking about getting Starlink here in the Philippines, because we can get that this year. Supposedly by the end of the year, they're still going to start shipping them out, apparently, from what I'm understanding. So guys, think about this stuff, because this is stuff that's in the future. We could have a typhoon come through here. Our area here is not known for typhoons. We could have an earthquake come here. We could have war come here. We could have supply chain problems, brownouts, things like that. We usually don't get too many brownouts here. Every once in a while, we'll get the power will drop for like a couple minutes, and that's about the worst that we have here. We have had power outages here. I think the longest we had was like about 24 hours, maybe 30 hours tops. And that's only happened like once or twice in the past 4 years. And beyond that, I think the biggest outages were maybe like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, things like that. That's not that bad over here. But remember, supply chains break down. the food supply definitely is having issues right now. We're hearing more and more about that. I'm seeing some Coca-Cola issues here, but it is starting to come back up a little bit. But yes, you go into restaurants, sometimes you ask for a Coke, they say out of stock, po. And I'm seeing that more and more. Also, I see it at the supermarkets. One of the major supermarkets here, they ran out totally of Coke. Okay, they had a few big bottles, but they had no cans of Coke, no smaller bottles of Coke. They only had some of the big 2-liter bottles of Coke, and that was it. So they are running out of some things here off and on, and sometimes the supply chain comes back up and it goes back to normal. But the other thing is, don't forget, guys, toilet paper, paper products, all that stuff, you want to make sure you have that. Canned goods, matches, candles. You want to be able to have all your flashlights always powered up, ready to roll. Batteries, you want to make sure you have extra batteries. And like I said, the best type of, I think the best type of flashlights to have is the rechargeable ones. Okay, but also have some battery ones too. But the rechargeable ones, as long as you have solar panels, you can recharge that stuff. And also have like a thing to read, those battery packs to recharge your phone. Make sure you get a really good one and a thick one, really, one that'll last like maybe 4 to 8 times to recharge your phone or whatever. And hopefully the cell towers are working well enough that you can at least use your phone or whatever, so you can call people in an emergency or what have you. But the best thing to have around now is to have like Starlink, and you can get the RV type of Starlink, okay? And that's like a portable one, so you can put it out in your yard. So God forbid there's an earthquake or a typhoon or something like that, you can move that someplace safe during the typhoon and then go back and use it afterwards. And you can have Starlink and have Wi-Fi, at least in your house or in a tent if you have to. If the house is heavily damaged, the roof is ripped off or what have you, at least you have some sort of Starlink or whatever. Remember, Starlink, the RV one, is different than the house one. Okay, it's a lot different, but you can buy that too. I'm not sure what it costs or anything. I saw it on a YouTube video. It's something to think about. You can probably look it up and find out about that. I believe it was Cheap RV Living with Bob Wells. Maybe I saw it on there, or one of those type of channels that I saw it on. But you can just Google it, and you can see all kinds of YouTubers that have stuff like that, and it works pretty well. So I mean, and then you can hook that up to your house and maybe put it out on the side or whatever, instead of having the one that mounts to your house and have that get ripped off during a typhoon or whatever. That's something to think about. Or you can buy both of them if you have that kind of money. I know it's expensive. I do realize that's expensive, and a lot of people can't afford that. If you can't afford it, then at least have power in your house. Have some sort of battery, one of those portable battery packs, like I said, with the solar panels or whatever. And make sure you have enough food around the house to at least last 3 months, and you should be golden, guys. And, think about having maybe a tent, a 6-man tent. Have some sleeping bags, some pillows put aside, put them in a dry bag, put them someplace. So if something happens, you have that, so you can live in that. God forbid your roof gets ripped off or something like that, or the windows get blown out or whatever. At least you have a place to sleep in, and that's key during these times like these. Last time people had no homes, they had no place to sleep. They were sleeping underneath tarps and stuff like that. At least you'd have a tent to sleep in. At least you'd have 3 months supply of food. At least you'd have water. You'd have solar panels. You'd have your battery pack fully charged all the time. Make sure it's always filled up and charged. Make sure everything in the house is charged up all the time. Always keep it charged. That's a safe way of living, so that when something does happen, everything's ready to roll. Anyway, guys, God bless. Take care.